Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast here from myself, Duckville. I'll be bringing you a Terran versus Zerg today. It's a relatively short game, which is a little bit different to normal, but I thought we'd have a go anyway. Starting up at the top right-hand side is our red Terran player, currently playing for StarCraft Ascension is the team, I believe. It is Coldscars. He's a really good Terran player. He's German, up in the Grandmaster League on the NA ladder, and does quite well with all of that kind of thing. I don't think we've really seen him around a large amount, but he was in the WCS NA Challenger League. Got knocked out, unfortunately, by, I think it was, I want to say Desro, I think it was. Or someone, I don't actually know now that I come to think about it, but he was in the Challenger League, but unfortunately got knocked out. His opponent down at the bottom left-hand side, recently departing from Team EG under some controversial situations, but, you know, regardless, he's still a pretty decent player nonetheless. It is idra. Now, some people were mentioning, you know, it's idra or it's idra or whatever. I've been, like, firstly, tomatoes. I've been calling him idra since, like, early Brood War days, when, at the time, I didn't actually know whether it was the correct or incorrect sort of pronunciation, but either way, I'm pretty much used to it by now, so it's kind of hard to get out of the habit. So, you know, if you're getting all mad about me calling him the wrong thing, then, you know, that's entirely up to you. So, whatever. Anyway, let's just quickly have a look at how these guys are opening up. We got the gas coming up straight away from a Coldscars, so probably a Reaper coming up from him. Not often you get to see well, it happens from time to time where Terran players will utilize the Marine, just a sort of couple of Marines first, and then like a one-rack expand. You don't get to see that too often these days, just simply because Reapers are a really nice way to, a nice sort of simple way to put some pressure on your Zerg opponent, sort of force them to bring out a couple of lings, depending on how good a Zerg player's micro is, and actually depending on how they went with their build. You can sometimes force maybe 6, maybe 8 lings, but pretty much you're going to be guaranteed to get at least 2, maybe 3 ling kills, and then possibly a drone or 2 if you're really good with it. It also depends how much you commit to those Reapers pushing across the map, but they are very quick. If you've got good micro, you should be able to get a couple of kills there, and make it worth your while. Not only scout out, not only that, but also scout out what the Zerg is up to. So most Zergs these days, as we can see here on either side of the map, getting out some gas pretty quickly, wanting to make sure that he can get his speed as swiftly as possible. We'll see that the gas will come up to around about 100. He'll throw down the metabolic boost as quickly as he can. A couple of queens will also pop out. If the queens can pop out, they are also really, really helpful in defense against the Reapers. So we'll see if they are able to, if he's able to get some damage done. Looks like Coldscars going to come through, has a quick scout, maybe getting a target down, a drone or 2. A lot of the higher level players these days will simply just throw a drone into, turn it into an extractor or a spore or something like that, just to try and stop the Reaper from getting any kills. And so far, idra has done a really good job. He hasn't lost any lings, hasn't lost any drones, and now with the queens about to pop out, he should be fine. But he has produced all those 6 lings, so it's not exactly like he's in a situation that he would always want to be in, but this is now starting to become a very, very standard sort of affair here in Terran versus Zerg, where Terran gets out a couple of Reapers, pokes across the map with sometimes 2, sometimes 3 Reapers, sees what they can do. They want to keep them alive, though, is a really big factor of this kind of build, because normally what you'll see as a follow-up is a Hellion Reaper-based push. It tries to come along to the 3rd base, you try and get inside the back here, get some of those drones if you can, and then, you know, burn some of them down if possible, just to try and keep the Zerg economy at bay. But you know, we'll see how Coldscars decides to go with this. It looks like he is going for the very heavy economic build here with the 3rd command center now on the way. Factory just switching over onto that reactor there, so we'll get a couple of Reapers started, a couple of Hellions, sorry, started up for Coldscars, and we'll see how much damage he can get done with that. But his natural is now up and running for idra. He's got his own drone count starting to boost up with 4 more on the way, adding on to the 29 that he's got on the map right now. Creep spread will start up, a couple of queens. We may expect to see 1 more queen perhaps. It sort of depends how much he really wants to get that creep spread started. But what he has done, he's gotten these lings out, a little bit of a Startail lifestyle push coming across the map here. Not always that you get to see a huge amount of lings, but there is a decent amount. They might snipe off this mule if he can target that down. That's a really nice target to go for, and he does get it. And that's pretty much it for the moment. So both these guys just doing, I suppose what you could say is this just a very standard sort of thing here, where get some Reapers out, do a little bit of harassment with those guys. If the Zerg defends it quite nicely, they'll be very happy with that. Then the Lings counterattack and control the map for a little while. But as we mentioned, we'll start to see the Reaper Hellion push come across the third base. Now, Idra has taken this base down at the southern edge of the map. It is a little bit closer for Creep to get to than the opposite base towards the top. And it does have a nice little ramp here, which can be... It can be beneficial to both races in a way. Like if you have a group of Marines that sort of sit up here, or you know, protected by Widow Mines down on the ground when you try and fall back, this can actually be a really good choke point because you can get like maximum damage on any sort of Lings that push through here. So we'll see if it's going to get to that sort of stage though. For the moment, we've got 6 Hellions out alongside those 2 Reapers, and we'll see what kind of damage they can get done. Ling's going to discover them in the middle of the map. Not the best sort of situation here for Idra, and he is going to have to fall back for the moment. Too many Hellions, too many Reapers to push in here, and he is going to bring along the Queens to try and help out, but those Hellions are just going to burn apart. All of those Lings and the Queens will be left helpless apart from the Spinecrawler just at the back. The good creep spread now starting up from Idra. Let's see what else he's got going on at the moment. No lair just for the time being, but he is picking up 1-1 upgrades, so we'll have that this nice sort of upgrade advantage, which will be quite useful when he's dealing with the incoming, what looks to be a bio play. Yeah, very macro-focused bio play coming up from Coldscars. We've got 1-1 of his own now researching. A couple more of those racks will go down. His stim is still on the way, a couple of Widow Mines also being produced, but effectively, as we were saying, very, very standard sort of game coming up from both of these players at the moment. Idra now up to a nice total of 54 drones right now. His opponent has 41 SCVs, but we'll see if the Terran economy is going to kick up very soon, and there it is. He actually starts to move over the third orbital command right now. We can see that Idra wants to have a quick poke through his opponent's base, wants to confirm that it is bio. Like, it's sort of I don't want to say it's like rare to see mech, but it's not the oft-done thing to see mech in this particular matchup these days, just because of the simple fact that Swarm Hosts and Vipers, well controlled, those 2 units can really give mech a very hard time. So I'm just going to scout out that the third orbital command is now coming across here, so he tries to get some harassment done with those Lings, but not too much to be done here. You will see those extra racks now going down. Armory, nicely timed out here. It's going to finish up and sync quite nicely with the +1 to weapons and armor, so he's going to be able to start up the +2 very soon. Meanwhile for Idra, Spire on the way. So we are going to transition into what looks to be a very simple sort of Mutiling Bane style coming out from the Zerg player. He's, you know, he's very well known for his macro and has extremely good macro control during his games. It's been that way for a very long time. Of course, playing Terran back in Brood War as well really gives you an advantage if you can control your macro really nicely, get lots of production coming out, get lots of workers, as we can see here, up to 70 workers right now. And as long as you're prepared with some defense at the these outlying bases like the 4th here and the 3rd down the bottom, like as I was about to say, actually, I would love to see a couple of spores down the bottom, maybe even a Spinecrawler at the back there just to protect that backside. But he's, well, Idra's just continuing on with that creep spread right now. This is the sort of point where you would expect to see a Zerg player. If we look on the minimap right now, you would expect the creep spread to sort of push out towards sort of this sort of region here, where he can actually control that sort of section. If the Terran wants to try and come through the sides there, he'll be able to detect it. He'll be able to get good movement on the creep as well, giving his units a really nice advantage. So Coldscars putting together a nice mixture of units right now. Everyone knows and loves Widow Mines, or depends which particular race you play, but a lot of people love seeing Widow Mines. There's lots of explosions. It's like a Michael Bay film if you're watching a lot of Widow Mines during the mid to late game. There was a statistic I read that apparently in sort of Masters and above level games, if there are more than 10 Widow Mines out consistently through the game, the Terran has like a really huge chance of winning. It was like 60% or something like that, just based on replay data and that kind of analysis sort of done with that kind of thing, which is a really, really interesting sort of statistic to consider. But as we can see, Coldscars now pushing through, not too much creep through the back end here for Idra, so he's going to have to contend with this without too much creep to fall back on. We'll see how much damage he is going to take here, but the Hellions at the front soaking up a couple of those bailing shots, but no combat shield is done here for Coldscars, and I think perhaps mistiming that this attack a tiny bit. We'll see. does have a Hellband at the front. The Marine slowly starting to fall down now, but he has broken through. Looks like the Widowmines trying to reposition themselves at the back here. They do move back across, and he is able to kill off quite a lot of the Zerg forces, but Hydra, with his mutas still intact, a large contingent of Lings now on the ground as well. These guys have 1-1, about to get their 2-2. The mutas are also going to get their +1 on their attack, and 6 more of their brethren about to join up with the flock as well. So he's, well, he's sitting pretty decently right now. 150 supply. He does need to consider that there is a Terran with over 65 SCVs right now on a third base. He's got a little bit of protection here, just a single bunker with a single Marine in there. But yeah, I kind of feel like that attack just slightly mistimed by Coldscars. He could have at least waited for the combat shield so those Marines could have stayed alive a little bit longer. But as we can see, he's got another push prepared to go. Some medevacs coming along with this. Some more Widowmines, in 5 in total at least, are going to be coming along here. And he's going to look to try and prevent some of this creep spread if he can. As we can see down the bottom, it's very limited across here, but Hydra's been doing a wonderful job pushing through this middle section right now. So we'll see Hydra just sort of rotate his forces down to the bottom. We have a nice total of Banelings here. These guys now have 2-2, so their explosion attack does 43 against light units. So this is something very dangerous for Coldscars. We're going to see if this positional play is going to be affecting how this turns out. Very clumped up Marines. I don't like the movement of those mutas here, but it looks like he's going to try and split off some of these forces. The Widowmine soaking up some of the shots there, but the Marines at the back completely clumped up, and Hydra tears through all of that, wins that battle, and looks to have a really decent supply lead right now. 155 in total, 6 more mutas coming out to add to the total he already has of 9. And with 77 drones, 4 bases up and running for Hydra, he's mining quite nicely from the 4th up towards the top. Widowmines about to poke down. Wow, big hits from both of those Widowmines there, actually getting off about 11 kills each, so that was pretty decent stuff there from Hydra. And now we'll see. Looks like he's Coldscars trying to come across, but some Banes blasting apart all of those the Marines and quite a lot of the SCVs that came through as well. But Widowmines are also here to help out. We've seen some Ling bodies blasted apart the map right now, just blood everywhere. It's all crazy up in here, but Coldscars is trying to secure a 4th base. I don't know, it's a little bit of a weird situation. Back at home, he does have 8 racks, and he's consistently pumping out his units. We've also got all these Widowmines now starting to come out as well, but he just sort of, I feel like he sort of just needs to sort of group all these forces together again just for a moment to buy a little bit of time. But this sort of time that you're attempting to salvage here as a Terran player is giving time for the Zerg back at home to get 3-3. We'll see the Hive coming along. In fact, there it is. So the Infestation Pit up and running. We may see some of those, the Infestors come out as well. But it looks like Hydra is just going to try and go in for the kill here. We've got a lot of Banelings now coming up the back. No real splits coming out from Coldscars, having a little bit of trouble getting that off this entire game. And the mutas now dominating the sky. Only 1 missile turret here to defend against those mutas, and that is the end of that 4th base here. I feel like that was a little bit greedy by Coldscars to try and take this base just without sort of consolidating his forces, without getting a large amount of Widowmines out and sort of positioning himself nicely to take the 4th. So he does lose that. We finally get a drop coming through the top side of the map. This is what happens when you don't really harass into a Zerg player. You have this situation where they're just constantly able to resupply all of their forces. 16 Lings now on the way. Marines have dropped into the 4th base and will take out quite a lot of the drones, but now having to jet out of there as quickly as possible. A Widowmine left behind, getting a single kill. Not exactly too much there for that little bugger down in the ground, but Hydra has been able to keep things alive for the time being. His Ultra Cavern is on the way. I was about to say Ultra Den is on the way. And once he gets that out, this is going to be a ridiculously powerful force here from Hydra. Running off 4 bases, looking to pick up a 5th. He is going to be in a very, very strong position with 3-3 adrenal glands. Of course, all those Banelings rolling around as well. The creep spread through the top is just magnificent here. He's pretty much inside the 3rd base of Coldscars. And Coldscars is certainly going to have his work cut out for him right here. 155 supply against the 185 of Hydra. There are 10 Widowmines out, but it hasn't been consistent. Let's keep that in mind relative to that statistic I mentioned before. So some of these Marines being very daring at the moment. 2-2 on their upgrades. 3-3 is about to finish up. and that'll certainly add in quite a lot of DPS to these guys here, and Hydra will lose that 5th down towards the bottom side, but looking to take a 5th towards the top left. A much more secure location. It means that he's got that creep spread covering that position, but the big issue here is that these mutas are now just bouncing across, taking down Widowmines left, right, and center. Do take a Widowmine missile right in the face. The main forces of Coldscars now pushing across to the 3rd base, getting surrounded inside the 3rd base there, and the Widowmines helping out Hydra by tearing apart a lot of those Marines, and Coldscars now back down to 146 supply. 3-3 upgrades are done, but is it going to matter here? His macro is still it's doing a pretty decent job here. I mean, he's used up quite a lot of his minerals, but speaking of using up all the minerals, in the main, in the natural, and in the 3rd, we're starting to get a little bit low for Coldscars here, so he needs to either put a big dent in his opponent right here, right now, or he needs to be able to somehow secure this 4th base. He's having a little bit of trouble right now. A recarpeting job by that Overlord just across to the side. You don't want to pay for that. And it looks like Hydra getting ready to rumble here. A couple of Ultras right at the front. Going to try and tank up some of the damage. The Lynx trying to come in through the back. Adrenal glands. And, of course, their metabolic boost giving them so much speed despite not having any creep. And I think that will be it for Coldscars. He, too, agrees. Well played coming out of Coldscars. And a GG from Hydra here in pretty much the first game I've cast of him post-EG. So I hope you all enjoyed that match. It is good to see that he's still playing around with the game. I think it'd be a sad situation to see Hydra just suddenly quit and play, I don't know, like Pac-Man or something like that. But I do hope he stays on board and sort of has some contribution to the scene, because he's certainly a very knowledgeable figure, being around for as long as he has. It'd be like Artosis just suddenly saying, sorry guys, I'm taking up marathon running. So, and you know, we don't really want to see that. So, pretty cool game. Hope you all enjoyed it. Very short one, but fun nonetheless. Being added in for extra tankiness on those Ultras here. They're going to be really shaping up to be big units here in this late game stage here. The big question will be, will it be enough damage to deal with all of these Immortals? We've got 3 Immortals coming out.